I'm happy to have our next guest in. He reached out, and I'm fascinated by the service because I think we all know somebody currently or have known somebody, or here's the sad part, we're going to know somebody who's going to need our help in uplifting them as they go through a fight against cancer. So the website is cancerfatigueservices.com, and in to talk about it is Peter Linnaeus. I got your last name right?
You did,
Reasonably
you
so. I guess how could I screw it up? Lannis,
I've heard
Linus, like the blanket guy in
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown.
Yes, yes.
And I want to, obviously, there's worthy things to congratulate you for, but you describe yourself as a 2-time cancer survivor, and that's pretty freaking awesome that you're here talking, maybe not that you're here talking to me, but that you're just here, period. Congratulations.
Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you.
What are those battles like? I mean, how do you even start?
Well, for my personal journey, it's part of the early age onset demographic. First got diagnosed at 26, again at 29, and I was fortunate enough to get diagnosed during SARS. So that was a totally fun experience, getting treatment and chemotherapy over at Princess Margaret Hospital, where you learn how to navigate the healthcare system, but then deal with being confronted with the C word.
Were there symptoms and you just thought, I've ignored these for a little while, or there's symptoms and it's like right away, this is not right for a 26-year-old? What was the genesis of it?
Well, it was very much spoke volumes to a sense of invulnerability being a young adult at that point in my life. Also being a cisgendered male, I was raised in North America with Greek cultural traditional values and thought that I was invincible. And my diagnosis ended up being testicular cancer, where the physical symptoms presented themselves. However, I thought, oh, I'll just walk it off. Well, no, that's not the way that the body works, and you need to learn to properly pay attention to signs and symptoms. And that opened up a giant can of worms, understanding myself as an individual, myself as a man, and learning how to be a lot more transparent about my health and being able to express myself.
I know for my health, I think I've turned a corner, and when you get a little older, I'm in my early 50s, I'm a little older than you. I know we both look 38. But,
and holding.
Pause. Yeah, hit the pause button on the look thing. But I'd make the point that men have this terrible reputation for not talking with each other about their own health and not addressing health issues as frequently as women just have to. Women have to, certainly if they want to be involved in childbirth, women have to because of what happens every month. We can ignore a lot of things going on with our bodies for months and maybe even years on end. You weren't able to do that from your mid-20s onward.
No, it was. It's really slingshot forward and helped me to understand and appreciate better a lot more the importance of being able to verbalize how you feel in the moment. And I'd like to also give credit to the psychosocial oncology program over at Princess Margaret, where I got the opportunity to ask for a therapist and for help to process. And they gave me this great analogy when they said, try to think of your emotions like colors in a crayon box. And I always accredited to being growing up as a male, I can express 2 emotions very healthy. I can be happy or I can be angry. Well, I've got, say, 24 colors. How boring are my pictures looking if I'm only using 2 colors?
Tell us about the website's cancerfatigueservices.com. That's who you're here with. You're the advocacy and engagement lead for them. What does Cancer Fatigue Services do?
Well, we are Canada's first clinic that specializes specifically in cancer-related fatigue. It is the #1 side effect that is most prevalent for cancer patients, survivors, thrivers, wherever you might be in your journey from diagnosis, treatment, post from 5, 10, 20 years, where the side effect is fatigue. And unfortunately, it's been something that's not directly addressed. And this is something that I'm really proud to be a part of, where we're taking it head on.
Physical, mental fatigue, or both?
Everything.
Right.
There's 10 treatable causes when it comes to cancer-related fatigue. And the average patient that we have when they come through our clinic, they present any mixture of 5. And the whole point and purpose is to identify and listen, where care plans are a combination of both patient perspective and physician-led leading, where we're able to look at it from a place of, what do we know that we can use to help, but we need your input to really understand what is your unique fingerprint of fatigue, and then help figure out what's the best approach in order to prescribe some type of therapy to help correct it.
Do I have what I said right leading into our segment, in that we're getting a lot more people diagnosed at a younger age, but in a way, when we can spot these things, as obviously someone did with you in your mid-20s, we've got a lot more weapons to battle it than we would have 30 years ago, let's say.
Well, a big part of it is the conversation, being able to help destigmatize the cancer conversation, and folks are more ready to approach their healthcare provider and recognize signs and symptoms in their bodies and get things addressed. So that's the first step. When the diagnosis takes place, being able to have active access to resources and moving from step 1 to step 2 and step 3. This can include mental, physical, emotional support, whatever you're looking for. It can be specific to your cancer type, where there are some amazing charities and advocacy groups out there that will support you for any stage of your journey, and even looking within your respective treatment care center. They always have something. Speak to their social workers. They will help support you, but it's all about asking and knowing how to advocate for yourself, including when you're starting to feel fatigue.
It's probably so critical, isn't it? Whether you live through it in real time, but even a man like me or somebody listening who said, "Well, I've had a few scares." You tend to want to, in a way, go through those things alone, but it is terribly lonely. You don't want to burden the other people around you. For example, I got an 82-year-old dad and an 80-year-old mom. They got enough health issues and things to juggle that me and my 2 sisters are involved in. I think it's the last thing I would want to tell them is I'm scared about something, or I'm going through something, or I'm fighting off something. I wouldn't even, there is that aspect of, like you said, you can shoulder it, you can push through it. I think what Cancer Fatigue Services does is, if you don't want to go to parents or just drop everything on a loved one, what a great place and what a great option in the meantime.
Absolutely. Well, there's a very common sentiment within the cancer community where, for folks who are going through their respective treatment, their cancer journey, as however you choose to put it, we very much take on the role of the emotional caretaker for people in our lives who are not going through cancer, where there's a lot of censoring, there's a lot of filtration, not knowing how they're going to emotionally handle it. And with all due respect to those people in our lives, if they're not qualified, they don't have the lived experience, it's very difficult to connect and relate. And that's where the encouragement comes into play for advocacy groups, charities, as well as even within Cancer Fatigue Services. Find your tribe. These are folks who have been through the same thing as you. It doesn't matter what tumor type. When you're around someone, you get it. It just feels so good to be able to let that guard down and connect.
We've got Peter Linnaeus in studio with us on Toronto Today with Greg Brady. The website's cancerfatigueservices.com. It strikes me as well, did you, when going through, your journey on 2 different occasions, did that sort of propel you to go, well, I'm going to stay talking about this, and I'm going to be involved, and I'm going to give people things that in a way may not have been available to you 20 years ago?
It was, given my diagnosis was testicular cancer, and it was twice. So having a 3-year spread in between, that was its own bailiwick to have to deal with. In its own strange way, given that I had that gap of 3 years, I kind of got a mulligan in how I chose to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So when that second time came around, I detected it. My first time I was diagnosed as stage 3A, and it was pretty severe. Surgery, chemotherapy, everything happened really quickly.
You're how old?
Me, I'm 50.
No. When that first run happened, so you're 25, 26?
26 years old the first time, and then 29 years old the second time.
Okay.
And within that scope, I was able to take the time to learn a bit more about the disease, how it worked, how it applied to me as a man. And then when the second diagnosis happened, when I caught it and I detected it on my own, that bell went off in my head saying, wait a second, how come I never learned this from anywhere else? Why is it there aren't resources available to do this sort of thing? And I started poking and prodding and learning across Canada what resources are actually out there. So I went to go find my tribe. And as far as I know, I'm still one of the biggest loudmouths on social media in Canada when it comes to advocacy for testicular cancer awareness. I make sure that what I do now is I'm being the guy that the 26-year-old version of me needed.
Yeah, it seems like, again, it can be so painful for someone to feel like they're going through something themselves. Again, this could be a scare, this could be people, look at how we men sometimes are with colonoscopies. And then you go and you get one and you're like, there's so many things in life where you're like, what was the big deal? Why did I push it away? Why did I stress about it? Why did I tell my friends I never wanted to get one ever? And then, like you said, finding your tribe, you're finding probably so many like-minded individuals, and you're like, what a good feeling that is, no matter what it is, when you see other people going through what you're going through. Obviously, they found that addiction conquering works when you're able to spend more time with other people, whether it's drinking, gambling, whatever, going through exactly what you're going through. Those are good things to have those conversations and have those relations.
Absolutely. It really comes, I love the expression co-regulation. when you're around someone who is able to help bring your system into synchronicity because you both get it and you come from that shared experience place and you feel that sense of calm, that sense of inclusion, it makes such a huge difference when you're trying to tackle whatever's going on in your life. And that's where I love that expression, you find your tribe.
What are your observations of I'm often critical, I want to see if you are too, our healthcare system at times prevents, so like you got to really advocate for yourself and go, sometimes you're like, well, just do the fit test. No, something's going on, I want a colonoscopy. No, like you got to really push even your own doctor sometimes to say, let's give this a little more attention. What are your observations of what we can do better with where we are? Let's even just say in Toronto.
Well, in terms of the patient perspective and experience, it's always there's that feeling of anxiety where we're trying to understand our bodies as best as we can and what we're going to do to present it to the healthcare provider. We look to them for answers. I feel like the gap is where we remember that no one knows our bodies better than we do. So being able to have that moment and opportunity to sit, ground in what's going on in the moment, and then present that as an advocacy piece, and remembering that we're working together as a team. So myself as the patient and the advocate, and then my care provider, let's collaborate together, and this is how we're going to tackle and address the problem. And if you're fortunate enough to have someone with you who can come with you to these visits, they can be that objective sounding board. Maybe they can remember things for you in the moment if you're feeling a little wound up or emotional, because there is an anxiety that comes with diagnosis, especially that waiting period. I'm a big believer in bringing a notebook and asking for a printed copy of every transaction. This way you have an active log. So if they forget something or you forget something, flip to page 24. Wait a second, I came out on this day, this is what we talked about. Can we circle back to this? And this is what's happened since then. It's such an opportunity for agency in your own health. And that's something that really collaborates well with the healthcare system.
You can book a free consultation, by the way, with Cancer Fatigue Services if you call 647-948-8118, obviously 647-948-8118, or you can go to cancerfatigueservices.com. Some of the other things happening around the province, you're seeing, even I brought up colonoscopies before, now we're rolling back the age as well to 45. That's a very encouraging thing, is it not, to encourage men, even maybe younger than that, because we're seeing people in their mid-30s get diagnosed with colon cancer, and we didn't see that. It didn't feel like 20, 30 years ago either.
There was a great groundbreaking moment that happened not too long ago in City Hall, where now November 19th is acknowledged as Early Age Onset Cancer Awareness Day in Toronto. And it's tied in very heavily with reducing the screening age when it comes to colon cancer, and the importance of recognizing more diagnoses happening for early age onset young adults. So with that transparency, ideally more transparency comes forward with cancer education, being able to help reduce stigma, and that's the kind of space that very much I do what I do for Cancer Fatigue Services, where I want to be a part of, and being able to help move that conversation forward, where folks feel less intimidation, they're more excited, if you can say the word excited, but they're more invested.
Invested's a great word for it, sure. Princess Margaret as well, is that where you did a lot of your, like, what an amazing place. We're so lucky again. Big cities have big city problems, but they also have big city benefits, and we're lucky to have that hospital here.
Oh, one of the top 6 cancer centers in the world. And I was very fortunate to get my treatment there. I like to joke sometimes and say I am a graduate alumni, and I love the fact that I'm able to support, advocate. I do also side work as a stand-up comic, and I've done multiple fundraisers more than once. Obviously repeating myself there, but in terms of stand-up comedy and being able to...
I spotted what you did there.
I caught it when I said it.
Yeah.
And being able to support and knowing that there's so many different ways that you can support great initiatives and great cancer care centers that help folks like me get through their stages and make it more comfortable.
I'm glad you reached out to me. Cancerfatigueservices.com. We'll stay in touch. Count me as an ally. Count me in to introduce you to be funnier than I could ever possibly be. So count on that. But again, thank you for coming in and telling your story. And I'm glad it's had this remarkable personal success. But I'm also glad that this is out there and we're letting our audience know this is out there. So again, people just don't have to go through the standard medical appointment. This seems like a real community people can go to, and not just during the process, but post, get back on their feet and live their lives.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the most common side effect as a result of cancer diagnoses, treatment, and lived experience. And what we're doing our best to help destigmatize is that it's not normal, it's common.
Yeah.
And we're able to help you get through it. And please reach out to find out more. either yourself or someone that you know, and this way we can help get your energy back.
Peter, thanks for being in. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
Peter Linnaeus from Cancer Fatigue Services joining us on Toronto Today.